You may wonder why I stood so far to the side, and it's a pretty straightforward answer. I noticed that Tehran and others were taking some pictures, and I'm hoping to get those and send them. Our son lives in Norway, and our daughter's at a conference in Portugal. And I send them, I absolutely am sure what their first comment will be if I were standing next to Rick is, "Dad, they shrunk you." Susan and I were married 49 years ago, and for a very, very long period of time, we actually thought we were living our lives in 2-year increments. We were together, we were married 2 weeks after college. We were in the Peace Corps for 2 years in Africa. We came back to graduate school at Boston University, and I spent 2 years to get a master's degree. Our kids were born 2 years apart. I continued for 2 years of doctoral coursework. I had to have 2 years of extensions before I could defend my dissertation. Susan went for 2 years to complete her graduate education. We took a 2-year leave of absence to go to Eastern Europe to start the American College of Sofia, and we came to GW to stay for 2 years. Well, that was 23 years ago. And I think I could separate the experiences at GW in many ways, but there are 3 essential experiences, 3 career paths, 3 changes that I think highlight my sense of commitment and welcome and appreciation for everything that I felt at GW. The first was in the central administration. Again, after 2 years of working with some off-campus programs, was invited by Don Lehman, who was the Vice President for Academic Affairs, to be an Associate Vice President in his office. And the notice of my appointment was sent out on the same day that Craig Linebaugh, Craig was here, but he had a 6:30 appointment, he had to leave. Craig and my announcement came out as new Associate Vice Presidents on the same day, and it was April 1, 1997. So I think there's a message there. It was wonderful to be a part of Don's senior team, to work with Carol Siegelman and with Craig Linebaugh and Don Scarborough, Elliot Hirschman, Peggy Cohen, and many others. I thought at the time, and still think, we were doing really important work, but I think my real memory of it is having great fun. We met behind closed doors with Don almost every week, and I actually wound up looking forward to those meetings. It was a great experience and a great learning experience to do that. And then around 2000 or so, the era of entrepreneurship was hitting higher ed. For-profit companies were being started, and online education was booming. And several of us had some ideas about creating a new academic enterprise, the 9th degree granting unit at the university. Actually, Donna and I had co-written a proposal for a new college, a new entrepreneurial college at GW in 1996, I believe. And it was so inconvenient for all the assumptions of the university that it took several years before we had enough traction to think about creating a new unit, to create new academic content, academic innovation, serve new audiences in the Washington area, engage students who otherwise would have no access to this institution, and deliver those programs in unique ways. And it was a heck of a team that we put together, several of whom were in the room here this evening. Virginia Hodges, who's the first person I hired at CPS and is the best person I ever hired. And Ali Eskandarian was in at the very start. He was hired to be an associate dean. He is the author of most of the new programs that were created in the College of Professional Studies. And today, I'm very proud to say he serves as the dean of a very successful college. So Ali, congratulations to you for that continuing work. I also, if Don was here, I would have thanked Don Vaselovic. I'll just mention quickly, while this was an academic enterprise, there was enormous pressures to make money. And we had to deal with the budget office, Lou Katz's office, many of you know Lou, and Don Vaselovic, who worked with him. And I am really, really grateful for the role that Don played in helping us as one of the leading people in the budget office, because of his patience and his forgiveness for those of us who had delusions of adequacy, that he actually wound up being a great role model for us and a help to us. So my story turned then, after 7 years as a dean, I went to Don Lehman, and to Steve Trachtenberg. I said, I love being the dean of CPS. I'm not done with my work, but I don't want to work as hard in the summer as most of you do. And I said, I'd like to propose to be a 9-month dean. I'd like to take all the money that I'm given in the summer and give it to my 2 associate deans. They're better than me anyway. I said, I'll be available around the clock. I'll come in a couple of days, but I don't want to work 60 hours a week the way I was in the academic year. And not surprisingly, Don said, well, if you do that, all the deans will want to do that. And I said, yeah. And he said, obviously that couldn't happen. So I said I quit. And Don said, well, you can't quit. I said, no, I mean with a year or two's notice. And that's what happened. And we wound up, Susan and I, taking a sabbatical, going around the world, and returning to the School of Education and Human Development with an appointment also in Columbian College. And I immediately felt at home. The moment I arrived, I don't have a degree in education. I never taught anything in higher education, but I wanted to have the opportunity to develop new courses and to share my experiences and to return to the classroom, which I had been a faculty member at BU for 10 or 15 years at one point. So I wanted to get back into the classroom, and it's been a great experience over 9 years being at GSEHD. Thanking all of the people that are in the room. You can imagine the friends, the staff that meet with a welcome smile every morning, the faculty who are just so fantastic, productive, and capable, and much underappreciated by the university at large. The administration, the senior administration, which is a terrifically accomplished group of professionals, and my dean, Michael Feuer. I would do anything for Michael. And so it's been a great experience with that, and I especially have appreciated, as everybody here tonight, the opportunity to work with students. There's no doubt about it. I love being a professor. I think some days I wake up thinking I could do it forever. I love the self-discipline, the self-regulation, the alternative lifestyle of being a professor. I like learning from students. I like being with students. I love being a professor. But it's become more and more clear to me recently that the 3 things I love most about being a professor are June, July, and August. And so I'm going to double down on that insight. You know, my father, in his later years, he had a great sense of humor. And he liked really dumb jokes as well as very sophisticated jokes. But one of his favorite quips at the end of his life was, I wake up every morning with nothing to do, and by lunchtime, I'm half done. I'm not ready to do nothing, but I am ready to do a little less, at least for 2 years, until Susan and I figure out what we're going to do with this. Thank you.